Hey, so today I thought I'd show you how to play The Deal by the Grateful Dead. We're going to do it in two parts. First, the chords and the form, which can be a little bit of a source of confusion for some people, and then how to take a solo over it. Without further ado, here we go. When you get a second, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. If you're interested in one-on-one Zoom guitar lessons with me, don't hesitate to give me a call or send me an email. I also have a couple of different Patreon tiers if you want to support me that way. All of that info will be in the details of this video below. Now, the first part I forgot to mention at the intro of this video was that in the form, before the chords really hit, there's this wonderful lick, this kind of bluesy shuffle feel lick. You got to think about this in like a swing kind of feel. So I'll throw this tab up on the board here, and it starts with an upbeat 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the chords kick in. Now that's kind of the home base lick in between each verse or each solo section where Jerry kind of plays that lick and it just stays on an A and it's just got that wonderful bluesy shuffle feel. So here's that lick real slow. Now the kind of basis of that lick is to be able to play your typical A power chord with an open string and use your pinky or your third finger up on the major 6, the F sharp here on the 4th fret of the D string, to play that very basic blues figure, that shuffle feel. But now he adds in a few notes. He adds in the minor third, the major third. So that's kind of a way to start your soloing, but we'll talk about that in a second. So that lick right there, and you can alter all sorts of things in there, with hammer-ons, with pull-offs, with little slides. That time I left the 3/4 alone at the end there. So one more time, real slow. Okay, so now let's talk about the chords and the form, right? So the form is an A, B, basically 2 parts. You could also think of it as a 3-part or a 4-section, A, B, A, C. I like to keep it simple and just go A and B. We'll start off with the verse chords right here, measure 5 of this tab that I have. And this PDF is available on the Patreon if you want to be a member there and support me that way. You can get this PDF downloadable that way. We've got an A. Now, do we play a full open A major? Not so much. We kind of just hang out with that blues feel. Just 2 strings, maybe go up to the G string with that A major bar chord shape. I really like that shuffle feel to continue on. So, since it costs a lot to win, C sharp dominant 7. Then we got an F sharp minor, nice easy bar chord. Now this next chord, I was getting wrong for a while. At least I think I was. I heard Phil Lesh play an E, but it was just a low E, so I assumed it was an E major, because that would be in the key of A. But I saw some other transcriptions online where people played it as an A major over E, which would make sense with Phil Lesh's E in the bass. And it just kind of complemented the vocal melody a little bit more. So I'm going to stick with that. F sharp minor, A over E. And it's a nice stepping stone from that A over E to the D dominant 7 to the D sharp fully diminished 7. And then we go back to our A. Let me pull that up. Back to our A here, little walk down to an F sharp dominant 7. It might be an F sharp major without the dominant, but that walk down's pretty fun to do. Just a chromatic walk down from A down to F sharp. Right? That in the bass of the guitar. I'll sometimes hammer on that F sharp dominant 7. And then here we go to a B dominant 7. I actually just play a power chord because I think I heard Jerry play more like this. And I'll do it up on the D7 as well. So you get the 1, 5, 1, and the flat 7. Sounds kind of Mark Knopfler-ish almost. Maybe just because I'm on a strat. So that's like a B, 5 with a 7. Not really hearing the thirds so much in there like this. Maybe Bob Weir's doing that in a higher voicing. So we got that A walk down. That's the A section right there. So now we're ready for the B section. So let's get that into play. Now the beginning of the B section is the same as the beginning of the A section. That's why I was saying you could go A, B, A, C, or I just like to say A, B, and then you kind of have the first half of each section repeating. So once again, here's your A, C sharp dominant, F sharp minor, A over E, D dominant 7, D sharp fully diminished 7. And then we have what I like to call the tag or the shout chorus, or people could call it that because they go into that at the end of the tune. You got A, G, D, just cowboy chords. You could play that up here, here, you know, all sorts of places. And it's good to play those chords in different places because if you want to take a solo over that at the end, which we're about to get to, it's good to know those different chord shapes. All right, so summing up the form, we've got our A, and B starts the same as the A. And then our little tag, G, D, that plays twice. And then our lick. Just 2 measures. Back to the form. That's A again. B. Tag, and then lick. And then it goes into a new verse or a new solo. Okay, so how to solo over these changes. First thing I would say is A major pentatonic is going to be your kind of home base on this. Also, I would say if you haven't yet, try to learn how to play arpeggios, either of all these chords, but mainly over a 1-6-2-5 in a jazz setting, in a major key. So that's kind of evident of what's happening here. And let's not forget, Jerry was a bit of a jazz guitar player. So we've got these different changes. And remember, the beginning of section B is the same as the beginning of section A, so that will just translate over to that. Nothing new there. So there's really 3 different parts. So let's take first half of part A. We've got an A major, that B.B. King box, the blues shape. Works really nice for this. Fits the bluesy kind of shuffle sound that's going on. Go down a half step and arpeggiate your C sharp dominant 7. It works really nicely over that C sharp dominant 7 chord because that is the arpeggio that you're playing. And then this next part, these chords move fast. F sharp minor, A over E, D major, D sharp fully diminished 7. Could you arpeggiate and go? You could, and it would sound very in, but you don't get a lot of time to play all those notes and it might sound a little bit jumbled. So I say revert back to A major pentatonic, maybe complement the melody, the vocal melody, which I did another video up here where I talked about how you can use the vocal melody to play your solos exactly how Jerry does in this song. So as I was saying, go back to A major pentatonic. And then you can really just maybe hit the D major and the D sharp, or just stay in A major pentatonic until that D sharp fully diminished comes in. Right? And that D sharp will really nicely complement that D sharp fully diminished 7th chord. Next up, we have our walk down to an F sharp dominant 7 or an F sharp major. So you can, kind of like he went to the C sharp 7, you can go. You can maybe arpeggiate that F sharp dominant 7. But some of you may know that F sharp minor is where you play your A major pentatonic. So you can really just, again, stay in A major pentatonic and maybe hit the A sharp in there to make that an F sharp major chord. Maybe go one further and play the F sharp dominant 7th arpeggio. And then when it comes time for the B and the D, I like to just fully arpeggiate those dominant 7th chords with some blues licks in your typical minor pentatonic or blues shape. Maybe throw it major, maybe throw it minor in there. Either third will work because you're in a very bluesy setting. Right, I'm doing that at B. And I go up to D. It's either pentatonic or the arpeggio, and it works equally well. Next up for the B section, we've got the same as the A section for the first half, right? Your A, C sharp dominant, back to A major pentatonic, D sharp fully diminished 7th at the end. And now here's the tag or the shout section where it goes A, G, D. And that happens twice. Sometimes at the end, they'll repeat it over and over, and they do a little bit of vocal work. Sometimes maybe they solo over it. You'd have to listen to old versions of the deal to figure out where they do that or when they did that. Now that A major, then G to D, it's less about arpeggiation and more about playing like a jam band guitarist. And you can just stay in A mixolydian because that's what those chords are outlining, right? A, G, D, that's screaming A mixolydian. So if I put that on a loop, you can hear the Jerry in that, right? You can hear the jam band if you just stay with an A mixolydian, and that works really nicely over those chords. The way to end this song, if you come back to the lick, find a cool voicing like this A dominant 7, which goes 7, 9, 8, 9. Play the chord once, slide up a half step, and saw the hell out of it. You could also do that up here. For that shape, I like this one a lot. Sounds nice and bluesy. Anyway, thanks for watching, and take care.